Very good morning to you, everyone. As always, we're grateful to have you join us here on Global Television, where we're live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. I'm Uyag Mofwegwe. As always, it's a delight to welcome you to Global Morning. Incidentally, the very first for the business week, even though we had started yesterday being Sunday, but business has kicked in today, and we are glad for the gift of life, and we hope you're also grateful. And as always, we say thank you for making that very important decision to join us here on the program. Well, the last couple of days, especially the week that was, came with so much of big stories, most of them actually controversial. And some of these stories are the kinds that shape a nation like Nigeria. And one we won't forget in a rush because it's an unfolding, or if you like, developing story, is the one that has to do with the debate regarding whether or not election results should be transmitted real-time electronically. Of course, that conversation has been here for a while, especially for a country that has seen so much of evolution in its electoral process since 1999. Remember how card reader was also a big concern in 2011 and 2015. And today, we see how all of that has moved real quick. Now we're talking about IREV, we're talking about BVAS, and we see national legislators debating the necessity or otherwise of transmitting the results of elections electronically. Yes, I mean, last week was quite a full one for the legislators, both houses, I mean, both chambers, whether it was the Senate or the House of Representatives, because Nigerians, for the most part, are very interested, and for all the reasons, all the right reasons, I should say, in how elections are conducted, and more importantly, how the outcome is determined. And right at the very heart of that is the mode of transmission of results. Now, let's be clear for perspective. What is very concerning for citizens is not just whether or not we transmit electronically, it is being able to cut down to its very barest incidences of fraud and sharp practices. And that becomes very important too, given that the last several years was saying that the cause eventually determine who has won an election, which quite frankly is an aberration for a country that has the grundum, the Nigerian's constitution, 1999 as amended, has quite a number of extant laws, including the 2022 electoral law, which we understand is now being reviewed just to align with the realities of today. And now we step on our brakes for a second and we ask ourselves, can we take all of this baggage, well, that's what it is now, into 2027, given that even politicians themselves are right in the middle, I mean, they are front and center of this conversation. Well, it's quite a loaded show today. That's the whole idea, just trying to help establish a build-up to what you should expect on Global Morning. We'll take a quick break. When we return, it will be 2 for the price of 1. I'll tell you what that means after the short break. Do stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Like I mentioned a while ago, it's going to be, well, 2 for the price of 1. That means that, yes, I mean, I've opened the show by myself, but I have a co-host now, one with whom I'm proud of. doing all of this. It's Priscilla Obasi. I know Priscilla, many people are surprised to see because they were expecting to see Jubai.
Yeah.
Well, a lot has changed. Just to establish that you'll be seeing Priscilla every other Monday and Tuesday here on the show going forward, unless, of course, something drastic happens with regards to schedule and workload and stuff like that. Priscilla, good morning and good to see you.
Morning, I'm always happy to be here with you.
Great. Hope you came with a gift. You know what happened on Saturday?
Oh, that's true.
Right.
We'll talk about that after the show.
I'm
sure you received one already. I mean,
officially, I must have received more than one from the same source.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So, did you give back? Is the question.
I believe in giving back.
Because Valentine's in this part of the world is believed to be a day that you celebrate women.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And somebody said on Facebook a while ago that look, women have to do better by men.
But women are doing better, though.
Are they?
Yes, they are. I'm sure you can attest to that.
I'm just one of the hundreds of millions of men in the world. I don't know if other men share that same
your opinion
position.
Should count in some way.
Well, it can't count for someone else. It's something that should be experiential, right?
Actually. But how was the Valentine's?
Well, it was great. I had fun. For me, it was even a family thing. It was several families together making one big family. So it was very special. It reminds me of what I also had last year. So I think last year and this year have been the best of experience for me in terms of Valentine's. And I think that's the experience I want to take into the next one, making it bigger by the grace of God.
I think I'm inspired to make my next Valentine bigger.
Well, we should all be, because you see, we don't have so much of time here on earth. I know people don't feel comfortable hearing that, but it is what it is now, right? Yeah. So while we are at it, we should make the best of it, the most of it, connect and reconnect.
Indeed.
Ensure we lighten our bags. I mean, we don't have all the time for all the bad energy and stuff like that. So a day like Valentine's reminds us that we should
make peace.
Make peace, yes.
I think it should be a day to ring the bell.
Right, not just romantic love alone.
Exactly. Whoever it is that you're beefing.
Right.
This is 2 years ago, since January. Person don't invite you for their wedding, you're angry. Person don't give you Christmas, you give your next neighbor, you're angry with them.
Right.
I think just that season, like he has said, make peace, search your heart. And ensure that nobody is there.
Yeah, exactly.
or the bad book or the black book.
You don't even have enough space there to hold people
Absolutely.
in. And you know what they say in basic psychology? They say if you the term you use, beef, right? If you beef someone, that means if you have some sort of ill feeling towards someone, it's like somebody who takes in poison and expects it to kill someone else. All right, because for as long as you're doing that, it just hurts you emotionally. It's beclouds your best judgment and things like that. So, like I said, let's make our baggage lighter by the day. And one of the things I've learned in recent years is to forgive in advance. That works.
That's very deep. Forgive in advance because at last we're all human beings and we can never. We will always fall short.
Right.
So
one way or another.
One way or another, because we think differently. So you should just make that room to forgive in advance, so that you hurt yourself. When you feel hurt, it first starts
with you. I agree totally.
Before some other person might not even feel. The person you're angry towards might never even get to.
Probably has no idea whatsoever.
Exactly. So just do your best for yourself, because when you forgive, it's for your own good. Yeah.
Right. I need to mention this for the records that Priscilla Obasi is an AI enthusiast. All right. Maybe you've not seen that part of her. Incidentally, last Friday, the 13th of this month of February was World Radio Day. I mean, I come from a radio background, and it happens that most of the people I interact with, work with, live with, also have that radio kind of culture with them. For most people, it's your father who actually brought that culture. Maybe he also picked it from his father or somewhere within the family. And just this year, the United Nations, because actually it's part of the UNESCO if you like, practices, all right? And they're saying that the theme for this year is radio and artificial intelligence. And it says AI is a tool, not a voice.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know where that's heading now, right?
Yes. We're in that era where, artificial intelligence is the order of the day. You go on social media, you see somebody using the tool. There are people that are using it to do amazing stuff. People are using it the other way. You always find
for the perverse reasons.
Exactly. So I think it's quite timely. Yeah. It's learning never ends, like they say.
Right.
So if you're in that generation, the previous generation, I don't want to call you the old school, but if you are that generation that did not experience what is happening now, you never saw it coming. it's the time for you to start to embrace it, start to
Right.
learn about it. Because I used to say, as long as you're a parent, you must speak the language of your children to be able to impact that positive thing you want to impact in them. When your child is in primary 2, you have to go back to primary 2.
Right.
When your child is in nursery 2, you have to go back to nursery 2. So if you want to correct a child, you need to use their language, right? So in parenting, it becomes a vital, a necessity. If you are, like I said, in that previous generation, you need to embrace it. And for those young Gen Zs that are using these things to do, make positive impact, I'll say a big kudos to them, because
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to know how to use a thing. It's another thing to know how to use it positively.
Right,
So
right.
for those people that are intentional about really building a brand around it, trying to educate people around it. I see people making videos, funny cooking videos now. When you go to social media, you see the one that is carrying the whole cow on her head with with AI. You see the one that's running to the river to catch a fish with AI.
Right.
It just some of them appeared funny though, but in it you see endless possibilities of what technology can actually do. So everyone should embrace learning. Everyone should embrace this tool called AI. The only way we can really take away the bad aspects of it is when we learn to tilt towards the good. It's when we know how to use it positively. It's when you even know how to use it first. So it starts by you knowing how to use it before you start correcting those that are using it negative. Some people use it to fraud people. Some people make up so funny ads, on social media, using a celebrity's face, trying to tell them, come and patronize me. I have used this, I have bought this, and it worked for me. And you, a novice, seeing it, you don't know that it's fake because you don't know how to use it. So you're able to differentiate the bad intent from the good intent if you have the knowledge of artificial intelligence. So it's something that everybody this generation should embrace.
I totally agree. I mean, talking about the positive deployment, or if you like, use of AI. So I saw something this last weekend by a gentleman, a Nigerian, a very young man, where he does something so amazing. And like Priscilla mentioned, what he does is such that, okay, so I wasn't here when my grandparents, especially my paternal grandparents, lived, all right? So I didn't meet them here. But what's this guy's calling, if you like? He picks a picture of my grandfather, my paternal grandfather. He picks a picture of my maternal grandfather. And then he picks a picture of my parents, my dad and my mom. He picks different pictures of my siblings and then my picture. He does this sort of amazing combination. He puts all the pictures together. I mean, 3 generations, actually. My grandparents, my parents, and then my siblings and I. He pulls all of these pictures together. He forms an image. So it becomes like a family picture. Now, the interesting thing is, before I was born, my paternal grandparents had died.
Wow.
So he picks all of these pictures. In fact, even my grandparents, if they were here, by the way, would have thought they actually had taken that picture with us. And then he frames it and puts it up on a wall, right? And you see how people are patronizing him. You see the kind of followership, the kind of clouds that he commands. And then in between, he commercializes this skill. So I'm thinking that's just one of the several, multiple ways in which we can deploy AI. So this year, we are being told that AI is not a voice. So don't try to mimic Priscilla's voice by deploying an AI tool. Have your own voice. However, you can leverage AI and use it as a tool to, if you like, drive your message.
There's this guy I know on social media. What he does is he mimics the voices of other popular gospel artists. He's a producer, and I think that's quite creative. So he goes to the studio and tries to make a sound, a beat, and then I don't know if he tries to mimic them with his own voice, but when that production comes out, he now uses that production to make a video of this supposed artists. And then you would see them dancing to it like it's a musical video. And this is just AI. Do you understand? So, I mean, there's a way to, even if you want to mimic, you don't do it in a way that you pose a threat or you're trying to defraud someone. Because most times you see the celebrities, when he tags them, they go there and they comment. Meaning that, okay.
So it's not a shady thing.
It's not a shady thing, right? Because it's creativity. Right? He's been, in the process of the whole thing, you see that he's being creative. He takes this thing, he goes to the studio, he puts some kind of beats to it, and he mimics their voice. He now says, if so person will sing this song, this is how the person will
sound.
sing it and sound. Then he makes a video, and you feel like, wow, you just see creativity. So it's a space, it's a tool to get all creative. Like you don't have to defraud people to make ends meet with AI.
Yeah.
You can be original, you can be creative, and you will still make so much. I mean, financial benefits that come with it. It's just enormous. So
while driving value in other areas.
Exactly. So it's the lazy mindset that says you have to, defraud someone. You have to just go through cut corners. There's still so much stress in cutting corners. Why not do it the right way, since you will still exert energy?
Somebody said fraud is not as easy as people assume it is. You still have to put in the work.
Exactly.
The only problem now is you're doing it in a way that is extremely negative.
So the work you will put, you can still put in work and get a positive result. Basically, that's what I'm saying.
Like you mentioned just before we take a break and talk a bit of politics this morning. Like you mentioned, the issue of ethics, is also very pivotal in the use of AI. The ethical deployment of AI.
True.
How do we regulate AI? I mean, look at somebody who is big on the AI front. For example, Elon Musk has said more than once that, look, if we're not careful, AI could blow up in our face. And to that extent, he's recommending that we must be smart enough, we must be futuristic and proactive enough to put measures in place across the globe. So governments and institutions must rise to the occasion to ensure that AI does not take us unawares. Again, of course, there are those who are afraid that AI will take jobs and so on and so forth. But you see, it's not about AI taking jobs. It's about why do you do what you do. That's what is going to matter in the age of AI.
Exactly.
So it's not just going to be about what you do. For example, Uyi is a broadcaster. Why does Uyi do broadcasting? Is there a story he wants to tell? Are there stories he's telling? All right, so the why, the WHY is going to be very fundamental. It's going to be the underpinning element as against the what, the WHAT. Because at the end of the day, the same thing we said as we're coming into the new millennium, that look, there's going to be internet, technology is going to be so radical, people will lose their jobs. In fact, the dot-com bubble and what have you, but today we know better. And like I've said here once, at least on the show, we've seen where once the world moved, especially Africa and indeed Nigeria, away from analog photography, we saw how that some of those photographers who were the best in their days could not catch up because we are now moved to digital photography. However, you had this ecosystem of photographers who also got smart enough to be able to transition to the next generation. And today, some of those guys are the ones doing brilliant work with digital photography, bringing in all the creativity and things like that. So this is much more like an endless conversation, but let's take a quick break. In a few seconds, we pivot into politics. Stay with us. All right, now time to talk politics. Of course, we are going to dig into that for you deeper in the course of the show today. But let's scratch the surface for a bit now. One of the big events from last week was the failed attempt to arrest former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai. In my place, there's a part of cow meat called Isika.
Okay.
Yeah, what that means is this part of the cow meat that you can give to a child at 4 p.m. They will struggle till 10 p.m. and sleep off and still not be able to chew.
They call it atakata elo. And that's when you finish eating, you just have to swallow.
Right. Well, that was more like a metaphor, politically speaking, for someone like Nasir El-Rufai. That's how most people describe him. They say he's pretty much a situation where you can't do anything about him. But the question is, what was the reason he was being arrested or attempted to be arrested? It is said that he had been invited to honor, some invite that has been sent to him by law enforcement. Of course, the man said he was not in the country at the time, which is understandable. But by Wednesday last week, he granted an interview to BBC Hausa Service where he had predicted that he would likely be arrested next, given that, a handful of his political associates had been arrested, especially those who worked with him while he was governor of Kaduna State. So he believed strongly that, he wouldn't be surprised if he became the next in line. And true to type, by Thursday, He shows up in Nigeria on his way from Cairo, Egypt. Then there's an attempt to arrest him. While that attempt may have failed, his passport, to understand, was snatched from his aid and now has become an item of confiscation by the Nigerian government. But he also said by the weekend that he would honor that invite today. Of course, his lawyers would walk him through all of that. But while all of that is going on, it will appear that on the opposition front, Malam Nasir El-Rufai is the biggest opposition figure right now. And I've spoken to...
Biggest?
Well, it looks like he is the biggest in terms of political threat, political concern for the ruling party. I've spoken to members of the APC, whether it's on television or off of it, and I asked them, what exactly is the, if you like, grouse of Malam El-Rufai, all right, with the APC or with the person of the president? And most of them seem to think that it's because he was not appointed, because he was not screened by the Senate. So he's angry with the APC, he's angry with the government, he's angry with the president. And I ask myself, if without conceding that is the case, at what point will this anger end? And then it appears that an answer has been provided to that question, because the man himself, Malam El-Rufai, has said that his only ambition as it stands right now is not to become the president of Nigeria. It is to ensure that APC does not return to Aso Rock in 2027. Do you think those are empty threats?
Sometimes when we Nigerians speak, we don't try to put ourselves in the shoes. I mean, if you were a Nasir El-Rufai,
how would you feel?
How would you feel?
How would you react?
How would you react? Because it was everywhere. He was going to get the appointment, the ministerial appointment. I think he even went for some sort of screening.
Yes, it was on the floor of the Senate. In fact, some persons had even speculated he will get a particular portfolio.
Exactly. So the first thing, Nigerians, we should try to be humane, really, because...
Yeah, are you saying Nigerians are not being kind to him?
Not being kind. Well, we all have, a lot of people have their grievances with someone, especially in the city of Abuja.
Right.
After the whole Abuja restructuring, demolitions and all, he got lots of enemies in Abuja. Let's just...
Even though, for the most part, he was doing the right thing.
Right? So that whole thing really gave him unwanted enemies, right? So people then going to Kaduna State, the whole drama in Kaduna State, the religious drama, the kidnappings, insecurity. Some people in Kaduna State says he intentionally neglected the southern part of Kaduna, basically because they did not support him during the governorship bids and elections, and because of that, he neglected them to the hands of bandits. These are all speculations, but it was not a good thing, right? Kaduna State.
So whether it was true or not, it would politically have implications for him.
Exactly, it will have implications for him, and then. He did the whole campaigns then for the Tinubu administration. He was at the forefront. We saw his zeal. We saw how he canvassed votes. We saw how he basically took it upon in Kaduna State.
Right.
And I would say he won Kaduna State for the APC government. So whatever happened down the line, honestly, was a shock. It was a rude shock to lots of Nigerians. And you know how Nigerians can react. They use it to mock him. Right. They made every kind of caricature of the situation. It's not funny, but we're talking about a human being here. So how would you feel, right? If you didn't want to feel a certain way in the first place, the whole drama that Nigerians had put in front of the whole situation, they had painted it, they had mocked it, they had made all kind of posts and tweets and everything on social media. I mean, even if you were a stone,
you would react.
You would react. So if he reacted, if he doesn't want the next government, he's only being human. Right. And if you were in his shoes, you probably would do the same thing, because you won't feel good having spent all your energy for a certain government and they, do I call it betray? But they might have...
Or throw you under the bus.
Throw you under the bus for Nigerians to mock you. So you have likes of... The people that oppose the Tinubu's government right now are getting ambassadorial appointment.
Ironically, those who practically put their lives into campaigning and supporting him
didn't get anything. It's painful. Let's be realistic. It's very painful.
Right.
And because of that, he would react with certain statements. He would react with, aside the one we see in the public space, we would definitely know that there are side talks here and there that we might not even hear.
Right.
But somehow, just the ears of the president, there would definitely be, if we can hear what we were hearing in the main open space and the internet space, you know that there is more coming from where that is coming from. So he would naturally want to react with, his utterances, even boldly saying that he wants to do everything possible for the Tinubu administration not to come back. That is him being human. Whatever his reasons are, I don't know, but I think if he is angry, he has every right to be angry based on every situation that played out during this. So for what is happening right, I think it's a smart move by him, though, trying to call the public to make them aware of what is happening. So that it's not done secretly the way others have been done secretly. Because when it's done secretly, somehow Nigerians will not want to know what happened. Somehow a narrative can be pushed, and it will just be used against you. So it's a smart thing right now to tell the public, okay, this is what is happening, whether they like you or not. Somebody will want to feel empathy. Somebody wants to feel some sort of sympathy for you, and come out and tweet about this. And before you know, social media is now a powerful tool.
It is.
It is
more than ever.
More than ever. So our governments are at the mercy somehow of what people think on the internet, especially when the voice is so loud, when people are coming together. That togetherness, because it's democracy. Democracy is playing out well right now on the internet. So it's a smart move by me. If you ask me, I think it's a smart move trying to let the public know, because somehow he knew that when I'm coming back, I would be arrested. It's better I grant this interview to let people know this. And during his interview, he made a very a very big revelation that has been buzzing the internet.
Including the possibility of the phone of the National Security Advisor being bugged and his conversations being heard.
Saying that he had brought in some smellless substance, chemical that is, about to circulate.
And it is colorless, odorless, and that's what we have seen or been told has been used in eliminating political opponents across the world, including in Russia.
Exactly. So everything you see right now playing out is definitely it's obviously political, right? If you want to get me, they will all go down. It's a situation of, you can't get me. If you're arresting me, we are going down together. So if you are in power right now, because the thing with Nigerian politics is those that are in power are free. Whether you have committed whatever sin you've committed in the past, as long as you're in the ruling party, nobody comes for you. The moment a different party takes leadership, it becomes a different ballgame. You that were a saint in the last administration become the haunted. So it's a situation of, if I go down, you go down. And if you don't want to go down, then you have to, you understand, save the situation. Whatever it is they are trying to push, do not push that narrative, because we all know our secrets. They are politicians. They know what is happening. So if you want to come for any of them, you need to make sure that you are safe. You have secured yourself.
You have a clean closet.
You have a clean closet, because does anyone really have a clean closet?
Wow. Let's see how we can clean up ours this morning with a bit of motivation. And here is Ramsey Enoch Agbo with Inspirational, and that'll be followed by newspaper review for you. Please stay with us.
Well, this is Heart to Heart Inspirational, and of course we need to let ourselves know that, all right, if life were easy, strength would be unnecessary. Do you get that? If life was an easy thing, we don't need strength now. We don't even need mental calculation. We don't even need to do anything, because life is easy. Everything is just going smooth. You just sit down, relax, whatever you want to do, you do. My mother would say, if money were leaves on the tree that you can plug anytime. But it's not like that. Life is not easy, and that is why strength is required. Anyone that tells you life is easy, then that person is not doing you well. No matter how rich your parents are, ask them, is life easy? They'll let you know the truth. And the earlier you realize this, the better, so that you don't lag behind, so that you don't just live a careless life, so that you don't live your life like there is no tomorrow, so that tomorrow don't take you unaware, like some civil servants who will never think about retirement until retirement meets them face to face. This is something of 35 years. What preparation have you done? Depending on pension, waiting for pension? All right. Well, with what's happening right now in our own country, I think a lot of people are becoming wiser, because pension itself, well, I don't know who is doing strong thing. But then I just want us to know that life is not as easy as we think. Whoever that is putting it forward to you that life is easy, I don't think that person is doing you any good. Life is easy. With faith, life is easy. I'm not displacing the place of ease. Life is easy if you know what to do. Yeah, life is easy if you know what to do. Then strength is also required. But if pressure didn't exist, a power wouldn't develop. Because what you're facing right now is not evidence of weakness. It's not because you're weak. Yes, it's not because you're weak. Sometimes these things happen. It's happening to other people, just that they are not voicing out the way you are voicing it out. They are not complaining the way you are complaining. Sometimes complaint don't even solve the problem. Because what you're facing right now is not an evidence of weakness. It is a proof of capacity. Your ability to subdue whatever the situation is what matters. All right? Some people, I don't want to say, but then I know of business owners, especially people who take risk in business. Sometimes if you know the kind of money they lose, you will be shocked. Sometimes we even insult them. But the day they hit it with that risk, oh my God, they can make double of what they've lost. All right? So it takes a man with a large heart, a heart of capacity, someone who has capacity, all right, to make such moves. So sometimes what's happening to you and what you're doing is not a sign of weakness, it's not a sign of foolishness, but it's a proof that you have capacity, and it's a proof that you are growing, and it's a proof that you're ready to change level, and it's a proof that you are tired of the status quo. You want a change of level. You want it to be better than what it is right now. Life, as a matter of fact, attests us not to break us, but to reveal us. Pressure exposes the strength you didn't know you have. I tell you the truth. Pressure exposes the strength you never knew existed on your inside. So sometimes your ability to overcome pressure sometimes matters. And that's why when you're going to look for a job in some other places, you hear, all right, do you work under pressure? Sometimes it happens. You don't beg for it to happen sometimes, but it happens. Even at home, in your family, it happens. Between you and your siblings, sometimes you see some things, some kind of pressure comes. All right? Those pressures exposes your strength. Your ability to handle those pressure, those times is what matters. It makes you. The weight you are carrying build your muscle in your character. That is true. What am I saying? I'm trying to let you know that the weight you are carrying sometimes is building your muscle in your character. Storms don't last forever. That reminds me of one of Kirk Franklin's songs that we used to sing those days. Storms don't last always. All right? Storms will come, whether you like it or not. In as much as life is there, storms must come, but it doesn't last and it doesn't exist all the time. But resilient people do exist, irrespective of the kind of storm they have been faced with. You've survived things that once made you cry. Am I telling your mind? Am I saying the truth? Am I saying your mind? Yes. Those things that made you cry sometimes back, you survived it. By the time those things are happening again, you already have the muscle to withstand it. You've overcome moments you thought would end your life. Some things happen and you say, whoa, some people think they are finished. Maybe a grace available for this moment. That same strength is still inside of you. There are strength on your inside that have not even manifested. All right. So when pressure comes in your business, in your family, in what you do, in your pursuit for success, don't allow yourself to be weighed down. Let me take gold, for instance. It's been refined by fire, not destroyed by fire. Any gold you see shining today, it went through a refining moment. What refines gold is fire. Fire. They put gold inside fire, heat it. It will be burning it. It's only God that knows what that gold will be saying. But after that moment, it comes out shining. And people will want to pay millions, billions to buy it. All right? That heat doesn't remove the gold. It removes the impurity, the dirt, the unpreparedness, the unreadiness. All right? The procrastinations. All right? The indiscipline, the misbehavior, the unreadiness is being removed by that fire. And you come out pure. You come out refined. Stop asking, why me? Sometimes, a lot of people like asking that question. Oh, God, why me? Allah, why me? Oh, why me? Stop asking that question. Start asking, what is this building in me? What is this situation trying to bring out in me? Why did this thing happen to me? God, what are you saying? What is it for? What is it for? Sit down and think. Some people don't even have thinking moments. There are times that you need to shut the door. You need to off your phone. Sit down and think. Strategize. Distraction. Kai, I don't know, but a lot of distraction in this our generation. A lot of distraction in this our days, especially this age of internet. Yeah, a lot of people are doing well with the internet. But then there are times that you need to sit down and just you and you alone, you and your heart, and what you have conceived in your heart, that is in your head, boiling, how it's going to get into your hand. Sometimes you sing and ponder over it. All right? Trust your resilience. You have survived 100% of your worst days in the past. So what is left? These are the things you should be asking yourself. All right? So I want us to know that this moment will not defeat you. It will develop you. And it's all a matter of choice. You need to decide it. You need to want it. You need to live it. You need to behave it. It needs to be in your head after conceiving it in your heart so that it can enter your hands. Thank you very much. You are a success going somewhere to happen. Recondition your heart, and your thinking cap should be on all the time. I'm Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.
All right, that was a perfect way to start the day. I hope you have been inspired with that. We'll dive in now to the newspaper review segment, where we're starting off with the Vanguard newspaper. First story above the nameplate: we communicate movement of terrorists to security agencies, but some writers to that says terrorists can be defeated if, this very story, discusses massive infrastructure achievement, reveal how state IGR moved from 90 million naira to over 5 billion naira in 30 months. That detail is on page 12. You want to find out why the buts and the ifs are there. So, next story. Electoral Act harmonization. Reps under pressure to abandon compulsory e-transmission of results. Empirical data guided our decision. That's coming from the Senate. Insists real-time electronic transmission of election results not practicable now. Okay. I heard that there's going to still be a protest today.
Yeah, in that regard,
in that
right?
regard. Nigerians are not, they are not taking a no.
For an answer.
They are not taking any clause for an answer. It has to be e-transmission or e-transmission. You want to find out details on page 5. Next story. Why most NAS members may lose seats in 2027. That's coming from Igini. Details on page 8. PINL honored as Company of the Year. The next story, 2027, Obi formally declares for ADC. Vows to defy ballot rigging. Okay, interesting times with the city boy movement. I think the obedience have started the village boy movement to counter the city boy movement. It's really an interesting time on social media.
Right.
And they are appointing people too.
Like ambassadors.
Ambassadors, just the way the city boy movement appointed people as ambassadors.
So everybody has got to have poster boys.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so next story. El Rufai Ribadu Bika over alleged importation of poisonous substance. You find that detail on page 9. Daily petrol imports declined by 42.2% to 24.8 million liters, right? Details on page 22. Okay, so next story. Federal government spends 226 billion naira, beg your pardon, on moribund Ajaokuta Steel Company. Details on page 21. And those are your headlines for the Vanguard newspaper. Read up details by getting yourself a copy. We're getting now to the Nigerian Tribune, and Uyi takes us through that.
All right, thank you, Priscilla. Top right, corner of the Nigerian Tribune this morning with a picture of Taiwo Yedele, the chairman of the Tax Fiscal Reforms Committee. Presidential Committee says Nigeria Tax Act 2025 does not impose 25% tax on building materials. Oyedele debunks Amechi's claim. That's on page 7. Alleged imported toxic chemicals. Ribadu replies El Rufai. You can read up his response and the entire context of page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Right, and then the star headline says NLC demands new power sector roadmap. With about 5 riders accompany that headline, calls for national stakeholder summits, says 10 years after privatization, Nigeria is still in darkness. Queries federal government's plan to pay 3 trillion naira to generation companies, reiterates its condemnation for band dichotomy, insists electricity not a luxury for the rich. Economists lock horns over utility of money as INEC proposes 873.78 billion naira election budget. All right, let's see what the items are that INEC will be spending all of these monies on, and we hear that
we had a 1.01 trillion naira.
Yes, because by the time you add, there's an additional 137 billion. They say that is basically for ad hoc staff, including, members of the National Youth Service Corps.
For the election materials.
Well, all in all. So we'll be looking at something no less than, 1 trillion at the end of the day. And we know what has happened over time with regards to INEC requisition, release, approval, budgeting, and what have you. There has never been a time since 1999 that budgeting for INEC was reviewed downward. If anything, we have even seen INEC chairman, at least we can remember quite readily, Professor Tahiru Jega, who had to come back to ask for more funding from the National Assembly. But Nigerians must get value for all of these monies. That's the point being made. And getting value simply means that votes must count. Exactly. Elections at whatever level, whether it's off-grid, whether it's general cycle, must be such that it's sane, established to be free, fair, transparent, and credible.
Well, the INEC chairman had it's not that era where, Nigerians will keep quiet. Whatever penny is being spent, I can tell you that people would
follow the money.
They will follow through, especially in today's Nigeria, where we have social media becoming a powerful tool. So it is not the era to, just, I don't want to say misbehave, but it is what it is, because Nigerians more than ever before have their eyes on the ground.
Well, let's get our eyes back to the papers for you. Still on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. It says proviso to real-time e-transmission of polling unit results, why majority of legislators may not return in 2027. That's Igini, himself one-time resident electoral commissioner for INEC, particularly in states like Akwa Ibom and Edo. Right? 2027 election timetable, electoral bill, top agenda as Senate reps reconvene. Right? It says KDI tackles Senate over removal of 10-year disqualification for vote buying. Who is afraid of being prosecuted for vote buying? We'll find out. PDP LP missing as INEC releases Osun governorship candidates. Details. PDP lawmakers adopt a court party, endorse Adeleke.
That's interesting.
Right, very interesting. Of course, like you mentioned, we live in an interesting time. Well, those are your headlines from the Nigerian Tribune. Do write by yourself to look up details as we turn to the first daily newspaper.
Okay, on the first daily, we have first story beside the nameplate, and it's coming from Peter Obi. Peter Obi, I'll contest 2027 despite political obstacles. I'm sure he's talking about even the ADC.
Yeah, and who clenches the tickets.
Who clenches the ticket. But I want to believe that Peter Obi has a plan B. Just in case. Just the way he had
so if something goes south in the ADC, he jumps off
to another, because there's every tendency that Atiku would want to contest. So,
and he may not be able to slug it out with Atiku over the ticket of the ADC.
I mean, same thing that happened 2023 with the PDP candidate ticket.
And he also had to find an alternative.
So I see that playing out again. I just foresee that playing out. But let's see how things unfold. Next story, El-Rufai raises alarm over ONSA's alleged import of deadly thallium. Okay. Next story. National Assembly resumes Tuesday for crucial plenary. The National Assembly has been having meetings. At least if they are paying them, we can account for their salaries now. Because
but they are sitting back to back.
They are really working. They are working now. 2027, Southeast will give Tinubu 90% vote, and that's coming from David Umahi. I don't know how one person just comes and speaks on behalf of the entire
Southeast.
You
know, I've seen leaders from the Southeast also raise concerns in that regard to say that yes, nobody is fighting the fact that David Umahi, having been a two-term governor of Ebonyi State, now I mean even won a seat at the Senate, now Minister of Works, has a lot of political clout. However, they say they frowned completely at his proclivity to want to speak, as it were, on behalf of the Southeast.
Well, let's see how all of that plays out. Serap dragged CBN to court over alleged 3 trillion naira missing funds. Okay? It's been a while we saw civil societies come out to really talk. I mean,
right, about issues like this, of public interest.
Exactly. 7 missing as Kano market fire raises shops. Tinubu orders police. That's a sad one. Now Fund disburses 392.8 million naira loan to Delsu students. Okay, good one. Amotekun arrests 12 kidnappers, 83 others in Ondo. And finally, we have U.S. sanctions bill. Miyetti Allah denies terror link. Okay. It's an interesting time for us again.
It is quite interesting.
So those are your headlines for the first daily. We go now to the Guardian newspaper.
All right, so we'll begin with the big one here, right on the front page of the Guardian. Today's issue, it says ports users pay more as NCS recreates multiple FX regime, adds 7% margin. All right. On the right corner of the paper, still on the front page, Afenifere raises alarm over persistent terror attacks, abductions. CPPE decries 10 trillion naira yearly loss by MSMEs to employee corruption, fraud. All right. What's more, Kwara governor under fire for campaigning while terrorists race community. That has been described as insensitivity.
Well,
in fact, the president this last weekend was in Kebbi State to witness and support the Argungu Fishing Festival, which has been here for more than 8 decades and counting. And we have seen criticisms also, you know, in that regard, saying that the president has too much on his plate to have time for such. He could have delegated that, engagement and all of that. But you see, in all of this, no matter where you stand on these issues, we must realize that sensitivity to issues of of public interest, all right, must be established. Leaders must understand that there's time for everything.
Yeah,
you can't be prioritizing campaigning because you have an ambition or you want to show support or some sort of eye service for the president, forgetting the carnage that's happening, not in your backyard, right in your face, a state where you were voted in to be the chief security officer. If anything, we should even see that becoming your obsession.
Actually.
Now and going into the future until the issue is de-escalated. But
absolutely.
Unfortunately, that has not been the case. Well, let's take a look at a few more headlines for you from the Guardian newspaper. AU summits, Nigeria backs reforms, regional security measures. Mixed reactions, trail reported U.S. troops arrival amid fresh attacks. NLC alleges federal government planning to, quote, settle the boys, unquote, with 3 trillion naira electricity subsidy. Who are the boys, and how is it that this amount is alleged to be for the purpose of settling them? Well, you can read up those details on today's issue of the Guardian, page 3 precisely. Data shows 10-year capital funding gap in health sector. That's a big shame. PMS supply hits 63 million liters per day as consumption falls to 60.2 million in January. Well, go read up those details on the Guardian newspaper. Next port of call is the New Telegraph.
Okay, so on the New Telegraph, we'll have the first story above the nameplate, and it's on the MBS. FDI inflow surged 123.5% to $565.2 million. Next story, state failure to publish approved budget raises concern. Details on page 23. Okay, the next one says, you might have to help us read this big glory on my screen.
All right, that's for the
New Telegraph.
The New Telegraph. All right, let's take a look at those headlines from the New Telegraph for you, everyone. Here we see, well, let's look at the big one instead. It says terror war, first batch of U.S. troops, military aircraft touched down in Nigeria. This is becoming interesting. It appears combat is on the horizon. But we must be sure that we have all the, Riot Act read out and that Nigeria is in a safe place with this, okay? We weren't consulted. Christians won't be subjected to it. Khan tells Niger Assembly, that's talking about Hisbah law, all right, which we hear is coming to Niger State. Says we weren't consulted. Christians won't be subjected to it. Khan tells Niger Assembly.
So what's the Hisbah law about?
Like you have the Hisbah, quote-unquote, police in Kano State. That's more like a social watchdog, ensuring that things like alcohol, things like prostitution, all right, not only prohibited, but the laws against them are enforced stricto sensu. So if this is true and if it eventually is rolled out, it means you're going to have the same sort of scenario in Niger State as you have in Kano.
State.
Right. That's it. So the Christians in Niger are saying that they were not consulted. So they are not saying they are against it. They are saying they were not consulted. They want to be carried along, as we say here in Nigeria. Well, those are your headlines from the New Telegraph this morning. Incidentally, we're just going to look at our last paper, the Daily Sun newspaper, and that's where we will leave it this morning on the show for you. It says here on the Daily Sun newspaper, adjacent the name mass, 2023 mistake won't repeat in 2027. That's Peter Obi. And I'm sure Priscilla brought you a similar headline previously. The writer says, step down for Tinubu, it is not southeast turn. Umai is the one telling.
I saw that on the internet yesterday.
Right. I can imagine. Here it says recapitalization. Banks rush to finalize merger acquisition deals as CBS March 31 deadline. Yes. Well, last one, Labour furious over 3 trillion naira bailout plans for power. Claims money moved to settle the boys ahead of 2027. Demands reversal of privatization. Those are your headlines from all the papers that we brought to you today. As always, remember that Global Television does not in any way contribute to these headlines or their details. We just bring you the headlines as published by their respective publishers. We'll take a break now. When we return, it will be time to join Ogochukwu Mabuno on Social Buzz. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning, Monday to Friday at 7 p.m.
On behalf of government and the entire good people of Kano State, the state chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Prince Abdullahi Abbas, wishes to welcome the Nigeria's Vice President, His Excellency Kashim Shettima, GCON, the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Nintawe Yilwatda, chairman, Progressive Governors Forum, His Excellency Hope Uzodimma, and the entire APC family, to the official defection of Kano State Governor, His Excellency Alhaji Abba Kabir Yusuf, to the APC. The event is scheduled to hold as follows. Date 16th February 2026. Venue Sani Abacha Stadium, Kofar Mata. Announcer Director General Media and Publicity Honorable Sanusi Batura Dawakin Tufa 4, and on behalf of Publicity Committee.
When social media speaks, we'll listen and we'll bring you the extra. It's your one-stop show for trends, and the tea everyone sips. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get the extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on the issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global Television.
Good morning, Nigerians, and good morning, viewers around the world. I am Ogochukwu Mabuno, and it's time to look at trending issues around the world. And this one, we're going to be looking at something that is buzzing on social media. In fact, as a matter of fact, a lot of persons are talking about this particular issue. Some persons are not comfortable, while some other persons are very, very comfortable. And what is this issue? The 3 United States aircrafts carrying troops and weapons have reportedly arrived in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. According to the New York Times, the first plane arrived in the capital city on Thursday night. Noting officials from both countries said that the first batch of roughly 100 U.S. troops will arrive in Nigeria over the weekend. By Friday evening, 3 planes were reported to have landed in Maiduguri, with equipment being offloaded from one of them. This first arrival marks the start of C-17 cargo planes heading to the 3 different sites across Nigeria. A U.S. Defense Department official told the newspaper speaking on condition of anonymity due to sensitivity of operational details. More crafts transporting personnel and equipment are scheduled to arrive this weekend, with additional flights planned over the coming weeks, the official added. The spokesperson for the Nigerian Defense Headquarters, Samaila Uba, a Major General, said the U.S. troops would not engage in combat operations. He mentioned this to the Wall Street Journal a few days ago when the U.S.-based paper reported that the United States would deploy 200 troops to Nigeria. These personnel do not serve in a combat capacity and will not assume a direct operational role. Mr. Uba also told the New York Times Nigerian forces should retain full command authority, make all operational decisions, and will lead and all mission on Nigerian sovereign territory. Mr. Uba said the deployment stemmed from recommendations made by the U.S.-Nigerian Joint Working Group and that the forces would serve in an adversary capacity at multiple sites. The deployment comes after months of mounting pressure from President Donald Trump, who has strongly criticized Nigeria's government for what he describes as its failure to adequately protect Christians from deadly attacks carried out by the Islamist militants and armed groups. Well, I'd like us to take a look at some comments from social media as regards this topic. And the first comment we're taking today is from Paul Ironhide. And Paul says, hope Nigeria is not being used as proxy to hit the Sahel Alliance. All right, that's a good question there. Second one is from Obenade 01. And Obenade says, do you think these people are here to help us? If Africa or Nigeria were good and secure places to live, no one would consider traveling to their countries. Their countries would be worse than Nigeria because 50% of their citizens live on benefits. No one would do jobs in their country. Thank you so much, Obenide, for these comments. And the last but not the least comment for today is coming from Chinomi. And Chinomi says, not serving on a combat capacity, are they here on holiday? This won't produce much expected result because those corrupt personnel won't do what is needed, even with all the coordinates the U.S. personnel will provide. All right, those are all the comments we have this morning on particular, pertaining to this topic here on Social Boards. And of course, I'm not alone this morning. I am with Uyi Agmofwebe. Good morning, Uyi. Good morning,
Ogochukwu. As always, it's a delight to be here.
All right, how was your weekend?
I'm sure you had a great weekend. It was
Valentine's weekend.
Yeah, 14th was part of the weekend. In fact, the weekend was 14th and 14th was the weekend. So we had to do a combo.
All right. So let's come back to this topic this morning concerning military troops that have been sent to Nigeria from the USA. A lot of persons have expressed concerns, and you could see it from the comments we read this morning, why some persons think it's not a good development for Nigeria. Some other persons think, okay, let's see how it goes. And a lot of debate have been happening on social media. What do you think about this development?
All right, first of all, I think what people have been concerned about, I mean, even before the strikes that we saw in Sokoto, was transparency. That the government should be as transparent about this whole process, this whole collaboration, this whole partnership as a glass. That was what everybody has asked for. That's number one. Number two is to understand the motive behind this cooperation. Why do we need it? What makes it necessary or vital? And then what makes it timely? Why now? Because don't forget that it stemmed basically from these allegation of genocide against Christians in Nigeria, which Donald Trump and the White House have been pushing relentlessly even up till this point. So long and short of the story, we're seeing a back and forth in this regard. However, we are also now understanding that there's some sort of, if you like, synergy happening between the Nigerian authorities and the United States government. We've seen U.S. delegations visit Nigeria. We've also seen the Nigerian delegation led by the National Security Advisor visit the United States. So there has been this interaction between both sides. However, like one of the commentators highlighted, hope this doesn't become more like a ploy to attack the Sahel, especially, yes, these countries that now say they're not part of ECOWAS anymore, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and the likes. Because on the one hand, there are those who now realize or who now believe that the French government in Africa has become insufferable. What that means is that these governments in Africa can no longer tolerate the French influence, or if you like, the foothold of France on Africa. And then while France is being, if you like, these countries are being extricated from the apron strings of France, the US appears to be coming in. And then for those I've spoken to about this issue, they say, look, if we're not careful, Nigeria may become more like some sort of Ukraine, because Ukraine, we understand, the war between Russia and Ukraine, many people believe is a proxy war between the US and Russia, Ukraine being the pawn, as it were. So their concern to this extent is that Nigeria should not become a pawn in this game of chess that's going on. However, it also raises the concern, if that is the case, why do we have a cross-section of Nigerians supporting the deployment of troops in Nigeria, whether they are combatants or non-combatants? Why do we have a man like Shehu Sani, himself a senator at one time, himself a public affairs commentator, a politician, himself one of those who actually were on the forefront of fighting the military to ensure that democracy was reinstated in this country? Why do we have people like Senator Ali Undume, a long-standing federal lawmaker, supporting the deployment of troops by the US? We must find a meeting point in all of this, so we don't have these sort of divisions that will make an already bad situation extremely worse.
All right, thank you so much, Uye, for your contribution to this topic. Yes, of course, we'll have to find a way to make sure that we are not having this division amongst us. Let us know what exactly we are supporting. If it's for a good development, if it's a good development, of course, it is welcome. But if it's not, then we shouldn't be like a pawn to, in this game of chess, of course, just like we have stated earlier. All right, thank you once again, Uye, for your contribution. And yes, this is where we close the curtains for Social Buzz here on Global Morning. And I'll leave you in the hands of Uye, of course, and Priscilla to bring you ushers into the discussion section of Global Morning. Please stay with us as Global Morning continues. I am August Kumobna, and good morning once again, Nigeria.
When social media speaks, we'll listen and we'll bring you the extra. It's your one-stop show for trends, truth, and the tea everyone's sipping. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get the extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on the issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global Television.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program,
As always, it's a pleasure to have you. Join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Agbo.
You know how we do it on Social Buzz Extra, bringing you all the...
on the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss. And of course,
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on
Women can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
First of all, it's a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
rural news in United
Welcome
Nigeria. I have
to
a guest.
Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Top Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists. Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276.
Oh, thank you everyone for staying with us. Let's get right into the conversation now. We're seeing, especially the week that was, how that politicians have again acted in a way that, maybe in ways that redefine our political landscape, especially in light of the 2027 general election. In the middle of all that, we're also seeing how that the issue of whether or not results should be or can be or will be, if you like, transmitted electronically has also become a very topical discussion at this point in time, especially for advocates of transparent, credible, free and fair polls. And then, of course, we're seeing a little more than fair share of drama from political gladiators this very last week. How does this, again, impact the issues regarding the elections? And again, how do we make sure that issues of development are front and center as against politicking in a way that doesn't benefit the everyday citizen? We're joined this morning by a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, who also is a leader of quite a number of support groups for not just the APC, but President Bola Tinubu. Chief Chibuna Uba Wike is our guest this morning. Chief, we'll say a big thank you to you for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
Great. I'd like us to begin from one that concerns virtually every Nigerian, home and abroad. Transmission of electronic transmission of election results, to be or not to be. We understand there's already a debate now in front of federal lawmakers. But your party doesn't appear to be very comfortable with the idea of transmitting results electronically. Is the APC living in the Stone Age or what?
Thank you. APC as a party is a very realistic party, genuinely patriotic party. They're interested in the progress and the development of Nigeria and wants everything to be done in a practicably and applicable way. Something that is practicably applicable. Something might be applicable but not practicable.
Right.
But APC wants everything to be done practicably and applicably. How do I mean? In this electronic transmission of election results. The Electoral Act 2022 made provision for electronic transmission of election results, especially national election results. And it was carried out. What is in issue now is real-time, on-time transmission of election results. And that implies immediately. Immediately the results are counted, the result sheets are signed by party agents and the polling unit officers, and everybody has a copy. You must transmit it immediately. APC is not against that, but we are asking the question, do we have the ICT infrastructure to cover the whole of Nigeria that will make it real-time, on-time? Because if it is real-time, on-time, any delay invalidates that result.
Uprightly.
So how would the winner of that election at that polling unit feel when his result is cancelled because it was not transmitted real-time, on-time, due to factors not his fault, due to the absence of ICT infrastructure to enable its transmission? Well, you don't solve a problem by creating thousands of problems. We are trying to solve a problem. And in that bait, we will not create more problems in trying to solve that one. APC is saying, whichever method of transmission you want, no problem, we are ready. But will it do Nigeria well? How will the candidates of election that will be affected adversely by this on-time, real-time transmission of results, that the ICT, the lack of adequate ICT coverage will affect, will impact negatively? Those are the things. Then what is the cost to Nigeria and to the candidates? It costs a lot to run for an election in Nigeria. After campaigning, doing everything, providing logistics, and you win the election at your polling unit. And then at collation, because of effort, not yours, because of the absence of adequate ICT infrastructure, the result could not be transmitted immediately. And the election is cancelled. That polling unit is cancelled. And it might happen in a local government or something of that nature. Yesterday, MTN had network issues in Abuja and Kano. Imagine there was an election yesterday, and there was network issue because INEC is not the one providing the network.
Right.
They rely
so it's a
on
third-party service.
Thank you very much. On third-party services, what if those third parties fail or disappoint, like MTN did yesterday in Abuja and Kano? What happens?
Well, sir, talking about partnering with the third-party service, I think Nigerians are more concerned about the fact that this was a situation that played out in 2023. There was transmission of results that, was really reverted back to, the transfer of results. That was the issue Nigerians brought to the table and saying this year or 2027, we don't want to repeat. What happened? What stopped the government? Because the same government that took power in 2023, what stops them from working on our networks? Talking about third-party networks, they are stronger networks. In 2026, there are stronger networks. We have politicians that travel around the country. I've never called somebody in the UK and he complains of network problem. I've never called someone in the USA and he complains of network problem. These politicians go around the world. They see how viable these solutions are. What stops them from even trying to make an attempt to see that it even works? Let Nigerians see that there's an effort. I think that is the problem. When we just fold our hands and keep saying it will not work, it will not work. We have 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. All these years, nothing was put in place to make sure that there is, we are heading towards a solution to what happened, as against what happened in 2023. So I think it's a concern of Nigerians. Why do we always fold our hands? Why do our leaders always fold their hands to, saying this thing cannot work without even making attempts?
Now, let me ask you, is it the government that provides the network?
Well, the government does not, but there are better network providers that they can partner with.
Excuse me.
And what even stops our government?
Let me tell you, you have said something. Okay. Let me respond.
Okay, sir.
It is not the government that provides the network. Okay. Government has liberalized our telecommunication systems. And we have private entities running the telecommunication system, providing the networks, not the government. Okay. Government's own is to provide the enabling environment for private investors to invest in that telecommunication sector. And private investors have invested in it. It is not the duty of government to provide the network. It is those network providers that should ask, why have they not deployed infrastructure to all the nook and crannies of Nigeria? The enabling environment has been made conducive for them. It is not the government. So the blame is not government. Government is ready. If you want to do real-time, on-time transmission today, we are ready. But do we have the infrastructure to carry it? We are saying all over the world. Brazil transmit real-time on time, but still there is problem with their elections. When they have their presidential, they quarrel and they go to court, even at times it results to war, civil unrest. In Brazil that transmits real-time on time. India does that, but also there is issue. America that does electronic voting has issues as well. The on-time, real-time transmission is not foolproof. It has a lot of issues associated with it. Have you considered the case of hackers? During the last election, the Minister of Communications then said that INEC server was attempted 12.9 million times. The hackers attempted to hack into it 12.9 million times. That was why, let me now tell you, even some of the presidential candidates, that contested with my own president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, brought in hackers to hack into INEC server to upload the results that have already written. This is why they are crying. Because if they succeed in hacking into that network, they will shut INEC out, upload their results. That is what the world will see.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. You see the issue that is trending now about wiretapping. We are coming to that. People have, the ICT world has developed so much. We have not developed to that level.
Right.
We have even advanced democracies that have developed that are still having issue with electronic transmission of results. They're talking about our own that we are developing. We are trying, you create more problems. What we are saying, let us make do with what we have. Even the courts, all over the world, have said the written results from EC8A, the result sheets, those documents are what is tenable and admissible in court, not the electronically transmitted whatever. They are prone to be hacked into, to be compromised. Imagine like what we are having now. It did not surprise you. Some of the aspirants to the presidential office have already pre-written results waiting. If INEC open their server, they upload. Knock INEC off. So these are things. There must be, what we should be talking about is there enough security backup for the ICT we have to prevent hacking. Even in advanced democracy, even where they have, even in America, they still hack into, even there was a time that the Russians hacked into the Pentagon server. It has happened. This is an election we are talking about. Let us not act on emotions. Let us do what is, like I said, practicably applicable. To me, what is practicably applicable now is transmission of results. When they are written and counted, the ballots are counted. Remember, the election is manual. You do manual voting, it's manual collation, recorded and signed. Everybody has his copy. Then you can, transmit. But not saying it must be done now. That is what real time, on time implies.
Right.
It is not possible in the present Nigeria will do. Some will tell you what are POS. You have not gone, you have gone even in city centers, many POS, many times you try, no network.
Sorry, Priscilla, I just want to add to this, just so our viewers understand. Our real concern is how do we ensure we minimize fraud in our electoral process, sharp practices and what have you. That's the whole idea. But your narrative now, Chief, sounds a bit helpless, or if you like, even hopeless, because it appears we are stuck.
Yes.
What is the way out? Because we've got to deal with this. It's in front of us.
The way out is let us make do with what we have and improve on it. So how as time as time goes on, we are comparing ourselves with advanced democracies that are up to 250 years, 100 years, and we are just 26 years or thereabout. 27 years democracy we are practicing. We will get there. We keep what happened in 1999 is not what is happening now. What happened in 2003 is not what is happening now. What happened in 2007 is not what is happening now. So we'll keep progressing and developing our systems to accommodate the exigencies of the time. But say we must do it now, it's not practicable.
So when we say we are going to improve on it, what are the measures? What are the spelled out measures that the Senate, the INEC has come out to say, because that's what Nigerians want to hear. It is not about, like my colleague has said, it's not just about the on-time, real-time transmission. It's about reducing the fraud in the system. It's about reducing corruption. I strongly believe, I don't want to go back and forth with the whole argument on e-transmission of results, but Nigerians are talented. We are representing, we are all over the world doing exploits. IT guys are everywhere. We have cybersecurity experts in Nigeria. We have great guys in Nigeria. It looks like the system is just made up of, old guys. I don't want to say that, but it's looking like that never wants to believe that there is change and it is possible. We are so backwards. In 2026, I was discussing with a cybersecurity expert, I think recently on Friday, and he made mention of the fact that yes, there will be hackers. But how about INEC make provisions of all political parties to come with their agents in form of cybersecurity experts. That is, you're not going to have the traditional agent alone. You have every party come with a certified, a professional cybersecurity expert in whatever situation room that will be provided for the elections and all of that. And because when you have all those people there, nobody will want to allow another person to cheat them in the sense of hacking. So you're able to spot, okay, something's going wrong here, something's going wrong. Or since it's a competition of or a bringing together of different political parties, it's not even a solution.
Now you bring, remember, political parties, any representative of political party will be representing the interests of that party.
Yes.
And if it happens that it's his party that is hacking into the system, will he raise an alarm?
Another party will raise an alarm.
I'm asking, if it happens that it is his own party that is, hacking into it, will he raise an alarm?
Someone
if
else
it happens, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
In an election and in the partisan politics will play now, there are chances that two parties might be working together, answering different names, and both of them have representatives
common interest.
Thank you very much. And it is them that are doing that. Will they raise an alarm?
So are you saying that?
Excuse me. No. What I'm saying is that we are evolving and developing. These things will be incorporated as we progress in our political development. It is not something that should be done immediately. We are in election year. It's not that you must support now, because we need to deploy ICT infrastructure to all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria and have enough cyber security backup. You don't do it overnight. It is a process. There are some equipment you will install that you test to run for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. To see how efficient they are, to test their integrity. And this is election period. The trial and error, you begin to correct some, the lapses you've identified. It is not something you've done immediate. So we keep growing, improving on the lapses we have identified until we get to where we want to be. It is not something that should be done immediately.
You talked about how that, INEC chairman had said one time that there had been some 12.9 million attempts to
communications minister.
Yes, minister. Yes, exactly to hack INEC's server, which is natural. That happens every day. I mean, banks suffer those threats as a matter of fact. But should they now say banks should go back to the days of manual banking, manual system, or should banks even shut down altogether? I mean, that's a rhetorical question, apparently. Then second, do we need to bank on private telecoms operators when we have a ministry with a mandate focusing on communications and digital economy? We have the Nigerian Communications Commission, the NCC, I mean, very big and pivotal. To that extent, it will appear government has been slack, deliberately or otherwise in this regard. But I want us to now talk about the role of political parties. Because when you look at it, when it's all said and done, reports of, all of the post-mortem that we see, whether local or international observers, always point to gaps in INEC's operations, and then the behaviors and attitudes of political parties, including yours, the APC. How do we correct those?
Before I answer that, let me talk, respond to your, inference to banks having their system hacked into. You know how much losses banks, suffer
on an annual basis.
Thank you very much. Imagine it is an election. The result has been declared. No remedy.
But would that also be a basis to go back to the drawing board?
Wait, now that is the drawing board is what we are on. Excuse me. The drawing board is what we are. We are saying that it is not upon how a kind of secure the cyber security the banks have put in place to prevent fraud. ICT fraud. They still experience fraud day in day out. Imagine it was an election. The result has been declared already, and the winner has emerged. Nothing you can do. So what I'm saying is this. We will keep developing until we deploy the needed ICT infrastructure to be able to accommodate what we are yearning for. We are not saying everything is manual. Already it is electronic transmission, but not real-time, on-time. The issue is real-time, on-time. That's the issue.
So the mode is not a problem.
It's not a problem.
It is the element of real-time, on-time.
That's the issue. The results are transmitted electronically already.
Right.
After collation, writing and everything, and counting of the ballots, everybody signs. The result sheets are given to the party agents and the polling unit officers. And it declared that the polling unit before it is transmitted. Now they are saying it must be done immediately. That is what real-time, on-time implies. And we are saying that yes, we agree it to be done like that. But do we have the ICT infrastructure to enable us carry
as of this moment?
It can't immediately. You do transfer in banks. It doesn't go 3 days, 4 days. The person has not gotten the money. You have been debited. Does it not happen? Do we not experience it?
Right.
So what are we talking about? Until upon all the billions that banks invest in deploying cybersecurity and ICT infrastructure in their banks and operations, still they suffer. You are talking about Ministry of Communication and whatever. The Ministry of Communication and the National Communication Commission, especially the National Communications Commission, is a regulatory agency. It is not in business. The Ministry of Communication is to provide the enabling environment for the development of the communications.
But it also drives policies.
It brought up all policies and programs.
Creates framework.
Thank you very much. And that is why the telecoms industry is liberalized for private investors to come and invest. It is like that all over the world.
So when he talks about policies, when things are not going right,
how do you drive policies that practically solve problems?
Thank you very much. When things are not going right, we come back. Those lapses that have been identified, we profile solutions to tackle them. And solutions have been profiled now. We need to do this real-time, on-time. So we need to invest more, especially the ICT providers, in infrastructure to be able to enable us to do real-time, on-time. Have you talked about the issue of power supply, energy?
Again, another failure of government.
It's not a failure of government. It is liberalized. You ask the government that privatized our power generation and distribution system. They invested how many billion?
But it's government, Chief. It's government, not a continuum. It's government, not a continuum.
It's a continuum, but you shouldn't put the blame on the present government because it precedes this administration. We remember a former president who invested $16 billion in power, whatever, and what we saw.
That was the Obasanjo government.
Thank you very much. We are seeing darkness. So the thing precedes this administration, and it is tackling the energy, sector, the power sector. There must be electricity, either the conventional we have and the clean energy to be able to carry ICT infrastructure to the nooks and crannies of Nigeria to enable us to have what we want. Government has seen these lapses and they are working towards it. They're saying it must be done now. Nowhere in the world it is done now.
So I think what the government should focus on is telling us, okay, this is what we will put in place to ensure that there is nothing like corruption or we minimize to the barest minimum, because we cannot even rule out this thing.
Are you talking about the election?
Yes.
Let me tell you, there is no election in any world that is foolproof. That was why Donald Trump had to challenge his defeat by Joe Biden. Till tomorrow, Donald Trump is saying that he won the election. Upon America, it is electronic transmission.
The same way Americans are saying that Donald Trump got help from Russia in 2016.
Thank you very much. So the system, so that's why I say no electoral process in the world is foolproof. All we say is to minimize it. Try as much as you can to minimize it. Brazil, that is advanced and one of the advanced democracies and advanced in technology, upon how they advance, still have problems in their electoral process that does real time on time. They quarrel, they go to court, they fight, kill each other. India, the same thing. Many places like that.
But I think Nigerians would prefer that.
Nigeria is doing, that is why we don't want to, get into some, going into something, creating more problems for ourselves. We are tackling the problem headlong as we can carry. It is something that, it is not something that should be done now. That is my position. The federal government is doing something that will be better for all Nigerians to enable us to have a free, fair, and credible electoral process.
Okay, so you mentioned electricity, and I think one of the problems we have in Nigeria is every government, government that comes to take power from the previous government spends so much of energy trying to blame the previous government, rather than fixing or looking at solutions. Now, talking about electricity and e-transmission of results or real-time transmission of results, looking at the relationship, we have clean energy, as you mentioned. We have solar energy. These things are not far-fetched. When we keep putting and bringing ideas as if we are still in the 90s where we are wearing leaves, or the olden days where we still wear animal skin. Sometimes it sounds like that. In 2027, we should not be talking about electricity as a concern for e-transmission of results. Where we have solar energy, where we have things that can be planted right now. We have how many months? This is just fair.
Incidentally, Chief has placed the blame on Obasanjo,
Yeah,
even though President Tinubu told us that he knew the work that was cut out for him, that he wasn't going to complain, he wasn't soliciting pity, and that, he asked for the job.
Exactly.
I did not place the blame on Obasanjo. I gave an instance. At the time, a government in this country invested $16 billion in electricity.
And the problem was not solved.
And now you're talking about solar everywhere. Have you calculated the cost of installing solar power all over Nigeria? It comes about 240 million.
We're not talking about installing in houses. We're talking about for the election.
For the purpose of election.
It must be everywhere for the thing to be transmit. You must have the base stations.
For the gadgets.
Yes, it must be. You must have the base stations located in the 186,846 polling units and 8,809 works. 176,846 polling units must have a station that will be able to, or one that is very close.
But we have
beavers around the whole. 8,000 beavers works on this, or beavers has batteries. They are rechargeable.
Okay.
Beavers, and the beavers fails as well. It fails as well. No technology is foolproof. No technology is foolproof. Even Elon Musk has told you that the best form is manually written results. No matter the advancement in technology helps what could be done manually.
Yeah.
They cannot take over that could be done. Like in the case of election results. Now we have 8,809 words in Nigeria. For you, and some words are so big that you must have like up to 10 or 15 base stations or thereabout. Some wards have 20 or 30 polling units. Some have 6, like my own ward has 16 polling units. And how many base stations do you have there to be able to power the equipment you want to use for the e-transmission?
I don't think it's impossible, sir.
I did not say it is impossible, but I asked you the cost. What have you calculated the cost?
It's worth it.
We will leave other sectors of the economy. Excuse me. We will leave other sectors of the economy, the development of other sectors of the economy, and plow. Excuse me, and plow all our investment into.
If we will get it right during our elections,
I said
we will get it right.
We will get it right, but it is step by step. It is not one-off.
All right, talking about step by step, Chief, let's move on to the next step. We understand your party has its convention scheduled for March, which is next month. Opposition is already saying that, just more like a reiteration, that there's an imminent implosion in your party that will happen. Of course, the APC has come out to debunk that. Does that not give you concern, especially the dynamics we have seen the last few weeks, couple of months?
We are not concerned. Our convention is coming, and we'll have our convention peacefully and quietly, nothing like implosion. It is their wish, and it is them that are having implosion, quarreling amongst themselves who will be their presidential candidate, whether they will zone it to the south or zone to the north. They are no zoning and this and that. They are the ones quarreling with themselves, already having their own implosion. Our party is a well-structured party, the All Progressives Congress. And we have internal mechanism to address issues that could arise. Talking about implosion, no. Our convention will come, we'll have our convention peacefully, quietly, and move on.
You're speaking of zoning. Well, these other parties, whether it's the ADC or the Labour Party, yes, they are still at crossroads as to who gets what, who clenches the ticket. But in the case of the APC, it appears to be a one-way street. There's not going to be contention over the ticket because President Bola Tinubu appears to be, I mean, to have it in the bag already. So there's no.
And he needs another time to consolidate on what he has started, the structural reforms he has embarked on, so that Nigerians will now see the dividends of these reforms. So. And he has the right of first refusal. He's our candidate. Though we did not foreclose any other person, who wants to aspire or wants to contest.
For formality.
So if you want to, you feel you have what it takes to, you are free.
I hope you're not causing problems for innocent politicians.
No. Anybody that feels it is open. You can't restrict people. You can't foreclose people's aspirations. Anyone that feels that he can perform and he has the wherewithal to, has what to give to Nigerians and wants to run. He's free to.
So the APC will not be.
And slug it out with.
The APC will not be printing one form like we saw with the PDP.
No. The APC will not print one form. We are a democratic, institution, a democratic party, and a progressive party. So we do our things progressively and democratically.
Well, for me, I think it has become a concern that when Nigerian politicians or say a ruling president wants to go for a second term, instead of using successes of the administration to campaign, they now strategize in bringing people, trying to endorse people, trying to get people to come and speak for them.
Increase the numbers.
Maybe you're talking about other parties, but in my party, we campaign on issues and we'll use the programs and policies and achievements of our government to campaign. Like President Bola Tinubu has done a lot. More than what successive administrations have done. Areas that successive administrations from independence they had to enter, he has gone into it, and we are seeing results. The world is applauding Nigeria.
Can you mention them, please?
All along. You want me to mention?
Yes, sir.
They are too numerous. Time will fail us.
No, please. Just.
The area of fuel subsidy. He removed fuel subsidy. Successive administrations knew this to be a problem in Nigeria, but they glossed over it over the years. And it plunged us into economic quagmire. Look at the exchange rate. We have been operating dual exchange rates, and it scared away investors. Mr. President unified the exchange rate. I see investors coming. Before it was difficult to repatriate your earnings if you are a foreign investor, but now it is easy. And investors are trooping into Nigeria. You go to educational sector, see the investment Mr. President has done there. What has not been done before? He has transformed the educational sector. You go to health, he has transformed it. You come to infrastructure, Octane projects are going on everywhere. You come to security, has made humongous investment in security, but we are seeing saboteurs. Maybe we'll come to that issue. Right. That, trying to sabotage his efforts. You go to aviation, there's a lot of transformation in all the sectors of the economy. What we couldn't see happen before, we are seeing it. Mr. President has done it. A lot of issues we will campaign with. Soon the campaign will start. We will reel out, a catalog of programs and policies and achievements of Mr. President that will earn him, that has earned him a second term. Because his election, by his grace, is a fait accompli.
Okay, so you mentioned 4 key sectors that I'm interested in: security, health, education,
aviation.
You mentioned aviation.
Infrastructure.
You also mentioned subsidy removal as part of the achievement.
Yes.
And when this current government was removing subsidy, one of the promises they gave was that this money is going to be put back into the system. One would expect that, from subsidy, we would have our own refineries working at this point. We'd have, our oil sector going booming and all of that, but we have seen Dangote refinery come to take a major stand or forefront in the oil sector. And talking about health, we still see incessant strikes in the health sector. Education just came out of their own strike during the festive seasons, and we saw them come out with, something to compete with, which we do not know if it has been implemented, because some schools have said they have not received their
strike does not invalidate the fact that there has been enormous transformation in the sector.
Well,
it does not.
Well, but strikes points to a problem in the sector.
I want to tell you, so I am a politician. You are not. Most of those strikes are politically induced.
By who?
You do not know. Most of those strikes are politically induced by political opponents. Let me not use the word opposition. Right? The investment Mr. President has made in education and the conditions of service he has made available to our university lecturers at the tertiary level, they have not enjoyed it before. They came out to applaud it. Technical education now is free. Government, listen, you tuition free. You look at the NEL fund he has provided.
I think this is just theoretical.
Excuse me, it's not theoretical. It is practical. It's NEL fund theoretical.
Well, we've not seen.
It's NEL fund theoretical. You are a journalist. Carry out your investigation.
I am also an educator.
Thank you very much.
So
it is hardcore, evidentially pragmatic. You see it happen. The universities that have received, the funds for their students are talking. Every time NEFON makes publications, if that what NEFON has published, refute the publication. Have you seen any refutement? Any refutal? No is the answer. What Mr. President has done in education has never happened in Nigeria before. You go to health sector, the federal government hospitals, both antenatal and the postnatal treatment for pregnant women are free, and then they have provided equipment for cancer and the renal treatments that we are not there before, and subsidize the rates. And there are other improvements that have done in the health sector. Look at the infrastructure. The kind of project going on in Nigeria now has never happened before. Remind you, most of those Octane projects were not initiated. They were not conceived by this administration. They have been conceived even, during the First Republic, Second Republic, and none of the successive administrations had the wherewithal, to say, let me embark on this project. Even when we say we are living in abundance. But Mr. President came and said, these projects will open up Nigeria. They are, geo-economic corridor opening projects that will transform our economy, transform Nigeria and our landscape. Let us open it up. Let us embark on this project to open up Nigeria to investment and stimulate economic growth. Look at the aviation sector. Previously, we were owing airlines, we could not pay them. Foreign airlines stopped coming to Nigeria. Many. What has happened now? The debts were cleared. The debt with IMF was cleared. Which many that I keep reeling out the achievements of this government. It's only a blind person and a wicked person that will say Nigeria has not made tremendous progress in the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Somebody that does not want the progress of Nigeria, who has been part and parcel of those that has held us down, that will be mounting such, I will call it rubbish in quote. So Nigeria has made tremendous progress under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The evidence are there. The world is applauding Nigeria.
Okay, the president, incidentally, we understand, will be in Adamawa today, basically to commission projects by the government of Governor Amadou Fintri, and then also engage with political leaders in the state. So we understand there's next to no PDP flags on the streets as we speak, that the whole streets have now been adorned with APC flags. Again, this development has now spiked the rumor and speculation that Governor of Adamawa State is moving into your party, like several other governors have done across the country. Is there any truth in that?
We say in normal parlance, in our local parlance, follow who no road. Our president Sabi Road where our party Sabi Road. So we welcome any genuinely patriotic Nigerian, irrespective of his the political position he occupies, that wants to join the All Progressives Congress and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in transforming Nigeria. Whosoever the person is, we welcome the person. So if the governor of Adamawa State, His Excellency Amadou Fintri, wants to join our party, he is welcome.
But is he joining the party?
If he wants to join our party, he is welcome. So let us wait. We don't need to jump the gun.
I'll tell you what the concern for many Nigerians, including myself, is the fact that many of these governors, the whole time they were in opposition, your party never really saw anything good that they were doing, because obviously they were in the opposition. All of a sudden they cross over, they become part of the team that will join President Tinubu to transform Nigeria. Is that not too paradoxical for logic?
No. it's not a paradox. Let me ask you this one. If they had joined the other party, will you make this statement?
Well, maybe if I was a politician.
If they had joined ADC or Labour Party or any other, will you make this statement?
If I was a politician.
Why is it that when they joined APC, people raise eyebrow? We could recall at a time in Nigeria, PDP was talking about 30 governors or thereabout. Right. Nobody raised an issue. Why is it an issue that people are joining APC? And we are saying Nigeria is stating toward a one-party state or whatever. That is absolute political bardarash. They have seen the good works that Mr. President is doing, that APC is doing, and they want to follow the winning party and the ruling party that means well for Nigeria. And they feel they have something to contribute, to the development of Nigeria. And they join our party. You remember, if those ones are not performing, when they come into APC, they begin to perform.
Oh, the APC has a way of making people perform.
Yes, well, you see competition. Your fellow governors that are in APC are doing well. Why can't you do well? You understand? So that is something. That is a thing.
I would like to throw the question back to you. I don't mistake us back, but if you were in the other party, would you say this about everything concerning the voting and electronic transmission of results?
I am a genuinely patriotic Nigerian. I want the best for Nigeria. If you watch my conversations, I am balanced. I do not, because I am in APC, I say this or that, but I hit the facts the way they are. The way the facts are, I lay it bare. That is it.
All right, we're taking a break now, Chief. When we return, we'll pivot a little regarding our conversations. We'll talk about the opposition, especially as it has to do with specific actors on that front. And we'll also look at some weighty allegations that are now in public domain, what the implications are for not just politicians and their political parties. Well, somebody said we don't have political parties, that they are political platforms. And they'll also talk about what they mean for citizens in our country, home and abroad. Stay with us, everyone. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning.
For the latest issues,
Always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
So last week, just about 4 days ago, there was an attempt to arrest former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, which failed. However, we understand at some point, somehow his passport got confiscated. And long story short, he'll be honoring some sort of invitation by a law enforcement agency today. But let's talk about the political side of this conversation. Following that drama at the airport, that incident, the former governor is now making several allegations. First of all, he says that even the allegation of Christian genocide as propounded by Donald Trump and his White House leadership has the APC behind it. He has talked about how that there's some grand plus by the APC and its leaders to ensure that it clamps down continually on opposition. Is that not what we're seeing right now? Because the man had said a day before that he would be the next to be arrested. And really, in less than 24 hours, there was an attempt to arrest him.
If you remember, in one of your programs that I featured,
right,
when you were asking me about corruption, I did tell you that government is working on them and they will take it at a time. But let it not be when they start going after the people, they say, they are clamping down on opposition,
Political witch hunt.
Thank you very much. Let it not be like that. Let me now come to your question. You saw the crowd at the airport. You saw the crowd. How did that crowd come there? You're a journalist. Have you asked your question? Do you have such massive crowd that are not traveling at the international airport, at the international in arrival? Such massive crowd in the airport? See, all these things are stage managed. I asked you about the crowd. How did the crowd come there? Not that they were traveling. Not that they came to see somebody off. Who assembled them? I'm coming. Who assembled them? If the DSS or the EFCC whoever wanted to arrest Malam Nasir Rufai, they will arrest him and nothing will happen. If they were, intended to arrest him, they will arrest him.
So what we saw wasn't an intention to arrest him?
No. If they want to arrest him, they will arrest him and nothing will happen. Remember, airport is a restricted area. And what they are doing, he stage manage the crowd. What they want to provoke the government to take, use, maximum force if they were to arrest him. He wanted to provoke the government to use maximum force. They will be casualties. Airport is a restricted area. You don't infiltrate a port like that. Have you asked the question, where did those crowds come? And you feel what? Those crowds went out with him. Who brought the crowd to the airport? So these things are propaganda, stage managed to provoke the government to do something. But the government is wiser. If they had wanted to arrest him, they will arrest him. They know his house. If they couldn't pick him at the airport, they'll go to his house and pick him. Is he above the law? No is the answer.
So was the attempted arrest also stage managed? The attempted arrest, was it stage managed?
There was nothing like arrest. Nobody wanted to arrest him.
So what was the intention?
Because he has invitation to answer to I think one of the security agencies.
Right.
And he traveled. Now to prevent him from traveling, they took his passport. Nobody wanted to arrest him. If the intention of government was to arrest him, is he bigger than security agency? Is he bigger than Nigeria? Is he above the law? Does he have immunity? Then the crowd that was at the airport that time, where did they come from? Who brought them? And they left with him.
I didn't know his supporters. Have we not always seen supporters with politicians, even with clergymen?
In the hall. This meeting was not outside. In the hall, arrival hall. Haba. Have you seen that happen before? If you're waiting for somebody, it is outside.
So can we also blame that on airport security if that's the case? Are we saying he compromised airport security?
Well, I will not say that. But my question is, how did those crowds gather inside the arrival hall? Clearance counter.
Well, I think it's on the airport security, we shouldn't
blame it on
I said, how did those crowds get in there?
Should that question not be to the leadership of the airport security?
Well, it's left for the government to do that. But I'm asking you asked me you said they wanted to arrest him and whatever. Then I was laying bare the circumstances, the scenario there.
Right.
How did those crowds gather there? At the arrival hall, a clearance counter. Airport is a restricted area, and if you have traveled abroad and coming back, you don't see crowd inside. You wait outside.
Right.
So how did those people get in there and all of them came out with him and went with him? Leave that one. Let's see what happens.
Okay, the former governor has accused the NSC. How serious do you think is the accusation?
It's an accusation. He who alleges should prove. That is what the law says.
But this also weighs very heavily on national security.
Thank you very much. It is part and parcel of the grand plan of the opposition towards electioneering period to begin to level forms of allegation against the government to paint the government in bad light before the electorates. No problem. But he who alleges should prove. He has made an allegation. Let him come forward with his facts and prove his allegations. That is when we'll take him serious. Then the one of wiretapping of the phone, he openly confessed. Yes. The security agency should invite him to come and explain. It is against the law. Absolutely. It is against the law. Look at the insecurity we've been fighting over the years. The late head of state, of blessed memory, General Sani Abacha, said, if insecurity persists, I'm quoting what I did not see him say, it persists, after for more than 24 hours, that the hand of government is there. Now, they're not asking which government. Government has made humongous investment in security to stop this terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and the thing has continued unabated. And someone who held position for 8 years as a governor, and we saw what happened in his state. For 8 years he was governor in Southern Kaduna, is coming to tell us that he wiretapped the phone conversation of the National Security Advisor. Maybe he has orders too, other highly placed government officials has wiretapped their telephone conversation. Why is it that when the military or the armed forces make arrangement to strike at so place, the bandits or terrorists will get the information? Who are the people passing the information to them? I keep talking about sabotage. Who are the people? Maybe any sort of investigation will unearth those that are sabotaging the effort of government in curbing insecurity in Nigeria.
So could this be an issue of we all go down together?
Let's watch and see what happens.
You see, Chief, you and I have talked about El-Rufai here on a couple of occasions. At one point, I remember asking you, is it possible the man is reacting from the standpoint of not being a part of this government, maybe feeling slighted by the president himself? So this is his own way of grinding an axe with the president and by extension the APC? Is that what we're dealing with?
Loss of power syndrome.
Well, is it even fair in the first place?
Ask him whether what he's doing is fair.
No, I'm talking about
how he was treated by the APC.
By the APC.
Let me tell you something. From what he has now openly confessed now, you should now confirm why the National Assembly refused to confirm him as a minister. What? Hold on. It was said there was security report against him.
Right.
Now, and that the security report, was weighty. The security report against him was weighty. Now, he could not be confirmed as a minister. Can't you see from what is happening now that the National Assembly were right in not confirming him? If he can openly come today and say he wiretapped the phone call, you know how long has been doing that?
Well, it's for security purposes. If he would do that to help our security architecture, why
there
not?
Is no. You are not under the law. You are not permitted.
Yes, but
no. There is, if you can do that,
I think it's an
you
issue.
You are sabotaging the security architecture, because if you are doing it to secure, you have passed information. There wouldn't even be need for it. It is the terrorists. It is the terrorists who should wiretap their phone conversation and pass on to government, not wiretapping government conversation. I don't know whether you get me.
So what we call
if government has someone like a person of interest, the law permits them to bug your phone, bug your conversation. The law permits government to do that in national interest, in public, overriding public interest. But not an individual bugging government phone. For what now? No, he has explanations to make to the government. Why has insecurity unabated? Why has it continued unabated in Nigeria? These and more are the causes.
I want us to put a bit more context to this, Chief. Mr. Nuhu Ribadu himself, being a security professional for quite a number of decades. What else? He's a politician. You can't take that away. At one point, he had even stood for president in this country. We've seen that happen in 2011, for example. As of this moment, there are speculations that, on the one hand, he wants to be governor of his state of Adamawa. On the other hand, they say no, he wants to be president in 2031, and that's the reason he's at the beck and call of the president. So we have all of those speculations which we cannot independently verify. Is it also possible that the NSA himself is becoming so political and that is coming to bite him at the end of the day?
No is the answer. All you can say is that, like I keep saying, sabotage. There are saboteurs around him.
Did he leave the door open?
You might not. There is an instance that happened that I want to before I get to that. There was a state governor. I don't want to mention the state and the name. One of our support group wanted to have, they directed us to the chief of staff. We did a letter to the chief of staff. The chief of staff got our letter, and it gave us his phone number to be communicating with one of us. All of a sudden, that same phone number of chief of staff began to communicate with, one of us who was, who had the lead. We couldn't doubt the communication because it's the same number.
Looked authentic.
Thank you very much. And we went ahead and do a few of the things that we were asked to do. It was at the long run. I said, no, this is not. Let's look at this. What is happening? Why are we no longer getting response? Look. And it is this chief of staff. We went into it on our own. We discovered that some people around him, they are using his phone to do so and so. They would listen to his call. He will not chase them away. Listen to his conversation, and we have meetings with people. And when they go, they use his phone to do something. We reported. I don't know what I get me. So, what happened now is that chances are that there are moles around
the NSA,
who could aid this thing. Because it is not all that easy, except you are using the network provider or how you have a superior equipment that you can be far away to
remotely
the phone. Otherwise, hacking, that kind of thing. So there are chances are that there might be moles around the NSA, or there might not be. but the investigation will unearth the thing. But talking about Denise being political, no. He has carried out his responsibilities with utmost patriotism.
Incidentally, the opposition is not relenting now because they say President Bola Tinubu, beyond the APC as a party, is a tough nut to crack in a manner of speaking. So they are throwing in everything they have to ensure that they put their best foot forward going into 2027. There's now the, well, if you like, theory of an Obi Kwankwaso tickets on the one hand, because they say there's a chance that at some point Obi won't be able to get the ticket of the ADC, so, and all of that. So we have all of those coming up. Then we're also hearing Atiku and some other person combination and all that. If all of these forces come together, will the APC not be suffocated politically?
If they like, let them, all of them come together. Nothing they would do. We are winning. Let me ask you. President Bola Tinubu wasn't a president, was not holding any government position. The government in power that was headed by a party did not support him. Officials of that government did not support him. Even, I said, our party chairman then did not support him.
The national chairman?
Then did not support him. And the artificial stumbling blocks were erected against him, both legal, just name it. They used the courts, all sorts of allegations, everything. They threw in everything. To Capitol, they stabbed him of funds by changing the naira at the twilight of election. Still, he won. You should tell them something. And some reasonable politicians, I use the word reasonable politicians in Nigeria who understand political dynamics, have seen it and told them, the opposition, that this man wasn't in power and he was able to dismantle all the stumbling blocks that was erected against him, and they emerged successful. Then you feel now that he is in power, controls the levels of power, because all over the world, when you control the levels of power, it's an advantage for you in electioneering success.
Right.
Now, we have majority of the members of the National Assembly, both the Senate and House of Reps. We have majority of the states, with us, with all their followers. The local governments, with all their followers. So on the day of election, all of them will turn against Mr. President and vote for you. No is the answer. In as much as, yes, there are saboteurs who are members of my party that will vote against us. They are quite infinitesimal on election day, because there are people too in the opposition that will vote for my party. And there are non-partisan people who are just patriotic Nigerians that want to cast their votes, who vote for my party and Mr. President. So we are going to win. No matter the propaganda, no matter, all the brickbats they throw at us, it means nothing. Yes, the one that we need to respond to, we respond to adequately. And we'll move on. We'll win the election.
Okay, so let's talk about support groups. I personally see it as anti-democracy when, before election campaigns is officially declared by the INEC, support groups are already coming out, or they're already endorsing support groups and all of that. And then you have the former Ebonyi State Governor, current Minister of Works, coming out to say the Southeast is solidly behind President Bola Tinubu, speaking on behalf of a group of people. Even before election campaigns, don't you see that as anti-democracy?
No, it is part of the democratic process. You make your choice. He did not stop you from endorsing somebody, did he? Did he? No. So you have your right to endorse another person. It is a free word.
Well, campaigns have not started yet.
Endorsement does not mean campaign.
We sought to campaign.
No. It does not mean campaign. Endorsement is consultation. In the partisan politics we play, in the endorsements you are seeing are consultation, they are not campaigns. And you talk about support groups. Support groups are the foot soldiers of the party. They galvanize votes, they mobilize support for the party. You cannot rule them away. They are the ones that reaches to the grassroots, to the electorate, telling them, disseminating the good news of the government in place. Other parties too have their own support groups. They go out to mobilize for votes, telling people what they feel their party can do. I don't know whether you understand. So you cannot rule away the role of support groups in election and electioneering successes, because they are the ones that goes to the grassroots to canvass for votes and mobilize support and votes for the party and its candidate.
One would expect that the APC will be a bit relaxed based on all the achievements that you have mentioned. But we still see them,
a lot of aggression.
Lots of aggression.
In partisan politics, a second means a lot. You don't relax. You don't rest on your oars.
But you've done a lot.
No. It's even at that. Anything can happen. So it is one thing to get power, it's another thing to sustain the power. So you must sustain the tempo of ensuring that you mobilize people, win new converts. You must ensure you win new converts every day. You don't just go to rest. If you go to rest, your members will be poached. They will be fed with janjaweed information, and they will go the other way around. To forestall that, you make sure that you continually sensitize people.
But does that not mean that your impact has not been felt yet?
No. The impact has been felt so much, but you need to, that what we call saturated campaign. You saturate the mobilization, saturate the electoral space with your mobilization, so that everybody because some people do not know what the government is doing. Some people also that know feel just give deaf ears, but you keep sounding it to them so that it will sink well into them for them to buy into the good product you are selling.
I think
advertisements say if you don't say here I am, nobody will say there you are. Why do companies advertise their products? Products that were being advertised before you were born are still being advertised today. So why?
I really think that the APC would have a very strong battle with opposition, because unlike 2023, we have stronger opposition. People are coming together to ensure that they don't return to power. I really feel that it's going to be a tough one for them. I don't know what you think.
No, see, like I said several in my media outings, the opposition we have is within ourselves. There are saboteurs within us that are working against us, but with us.
Within the APC?
Within the APC, yes. That is why we must sustain the tempo of our campaign, to let people know what the government is. So that those they are, misinformation and disinformation against the government, don't be members of APC, we neutralize them. We have saboteurs within us working against us, who are with us. So because of them, and others,
have they been identified?
It is not easy to identify all of them, but there are ones you identify, you mention them.
I think it's part of the sabotage and saboteurs that brought the APC into power in 2023.
No.
Sabotage is part of the system.
No. Excuse me. You don't rule saboteurs in political,
they are always there.
They are always there.
Yes.
But when they become more, especially like what we are seeing, some are disgruntled because of they couldn't get what they are looking for. Some they keep poisoning the hearts of people. Some are in ADC but still claiming to be with us in APC. You see them campaigning for ADC, supporting whatever ADC people are doing on some APC platforms, WhatsApp platforms and the other social media. So those ones you have identified them. Some do not talk, but their body language. So those saboteurs we know within, we are working to make sure that we neutralize, we'll counter the false information that they are dishing out, the false narrative they are dishing out because of they couldn't get what they want from government. They resorted to that such blackmail and misinformation. We must counter it to inform people adequately and accurately so that people will understand what our government is doing and what our party is doing.
But isn't this a win for democracy? I mean, we should move away from party politics to person politics.
That is democracy. That's the beauty of democracy.
So
everybody has his say.
If someone is APC and feels like an ADC person is someone that aligns with my values, why not give him subtle?
It is not that because APC is doing better. No. They are doing it. I want to punish APC. It's a one out of selfishness. I want to punish APC. See, you did not give me this, and because of this, I will do like this. You understand? I will turn against you. So that.
But speaking of saboteurs, Chief, should APC not very genuinely be concerned? Because Adeboye Oyetola lost election in Osun State. That's the election that should have brought him for his second term. It lost to Ademola Adeleke. And upon results, announcement of those results, we're told that APC had moles, APC had saboteurs on the inside who made that happen, gave that victory. And one of those persons the APC had accused consistently is former Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, who is now a big fish, so to speak, in the ADC. Yeah. And they say history always repeats itself.
Yeah.
So this time around, that's why we are saying that we are not resting on our oars. We have seen them. We know some of them, but we don't know all of them. So to forestall such things, we must keep, we must be alert 247.
Right.
We must be at alert 247 to ensure that we do not give them that freedom and that benefit of doing what they have been doing before. We don't want to give that to them. We are at alert 247, working to ensure that they do not have that freedom to truncate the good works of APC, poison the house of electorates against APC, and do some other sinister things that they are doing.
I want to ask you this. Perhaps I had hinted at it before with you in the previous conversation, just before we take a break now. We are hearing that there are figures, prominent political figures in the North, who are very concerned about the talks of Vice President Kashim Shettima not being returned for a second term with President Bola Tinubu, because they say they have to re-strategize, they have to rework the mechanism and what have you. And these very prominent figures are saying that, look, one way the APC can continue to hold on to power is to ensure that it returns not just a northerner, but a northern Muslim with the president in 2027. Are these not supposed to also be of concern, given that the Muslim ticket in 2023 was a very controversial discussion in this country?
A Muslim ticket, yes, 2023 was controversial, but in 2027 it's not going to be controversial if it plays out. The Muslim ticket did not deny Christians the opportunity to serve their God or other practitioners of religion. Nigeria is a multi-religious state.
Right.
Thank you. So it never denied any of the religions the freedom to practice their religion. Mr. President is a very religiously liberal person. We have not seen him, punish one religion, or favor one religion against the other since his presidency. Rather, even other religions have enjoyed a lot of freedom compared to what happened, before. So the Muslim ticket is not going to pose any problem should my party decide, on that. And remember, those that worked against Mr. President because of Muslim ticket, the major arrowheads of that campaign are in my party now, working for Mr. President, because they have seen the good works of Mr. President, and they've seen that Mr. President meant well for Nigeria, and he has never worked against any religion. And in partisan politics, if you are genuinely contesting to win, you must strategize to ensure you field a candidate that will enable you to win. You must, take measures that will enable you to win and win, genuinely and well. So if my party decides to field Muslim ticket, another Muslim ticket, well and good.
What we're even hearing is not Muslim ticket, it's Muslim Christian ticket. But I just want to ask you a pointed question, Chief. Yes, I know this may maybe kind of jostle you a little, but do you see from what is happening now that Kashim Shettima may not be returning with the president?
I'm not seeing that. Mr. President has not said that. And Vice President Kashim Shettima has not said that as well.
So if that's the case, what if that eventually plays out?
When we get to the bridge, we'll cross it.
Okay, the bridge is under construction. We understand. We're taking a break now. When we return shortly, we'll talk about INEC and the humongous amount now that is making requisition for, all in a bid to prosecute 3 rounds of elections. We have one in Osun, another in Ekiti. Those are off-grid elections for this year. And then the big one, which is more like the grand finale, is in 2027, the general election cycle. We'll talk about all of those as we begin to wrap up the program after this break. Stay with us. All right, Chief, let's turn to INEC now. I mean, INEC is the entity always blamed every time a politician or a political party loses in an election. The chairman of the commission says that, look, this is not going to be business as usual, that the commission has now understood most of the challenges, the problems, and it's going to do better, do right by Nigerians going forward and be fair to all the parties involved. Now, INEC is asking for several billions. In all, if you put it together, we're looking at something in the neighborhood of #1 trillion. Is it about money or about system, about excellence in the way we conduct elections?
It's about all that you mentioned. You need money to put in those systems. You need money to conduct the election. You need money to provide the logistics. And it is very, very tasking. It is expensive. I told you we have 176,846 polling units, and we have 8,809 wards. Just compilation of the voter register alone is very, very expensive. Compilation of the voter register alone in all the 176,846 polling units. And remember, INEC will make it available, on the day of election to those each polling unit.
Right.
Thank you. Each local government, each ward, each local government, each state. It is not an easy task. Then providing logistics, the manpower, each of the polling units INEC provides about 3 or 4 persons. Multiplied by 176,846, and they will pay them. Then, the areas that they do not have INEC, because they do not have INEC vehicles to convert, we only have vehicles at the state headquarters or local government. Even at the local government headquarters, they don't actually have vehicles. Imagine INEC should provide vehicles at the local government headquarters, each of them, at 774 local governments. You will charter vehicles, because if you have participated in election, you will understand. You will charter vehicles to carry INEC materials from the headquarters, to local government, from local government to the wards.
Across all the states?
Across all the states. It is very, very expensive. So what about security? They are not doing their work pro bono. You must pay them. So somebody looking at the figure, it's very much. Yes, when you break the figures down, you know that it's just a drop in the ocean. And I wouldn't want to see, to have seen cases before that INEC presented a budget after they brought in additional supplementary budget, additional request. So the current INEC chairman, I believe, with this budget he has request he has made, might not bring a supplementary. But if the situation arises, there are exigencies that require additional funding, because in the build up to the election, there are things that might come up that they might not have factored into the budget. They will bring it up. We want an electoral process that will guarantee a free, credible, and fair election. It costs money to do that.
Okay, my major concern is that I think we wait for dying minutes to put systems in place in our country. All of what we are discussing now should have been talked about even in 2025. We're not talking about 2026, and when we now start bringing up reforms, we say it's too late. We don't have so much time to wait. And then 2031 will come again, and we will say it's too late. What are we doing now to ensure that, say, even if we don't implement the mode of elections that Nigerians are crying for, what are we putting in place now to ensure that in the next 4 years, 5 years, these things we put in place, both by the presidency, because he's going to leave power, if he eventually becomes the president in 2027, he has another 4 years. What are we doing to ensure that we don't have a dying minute plan again every 4 years?
It is not everything that INEC is doing that it brings to the public fora. INEC has been doing a lot. Look at the continuous voter registration. It has been ongoing. And money is being spent. We aren't talking about that. A lot INEC has been doing. Not everything they bring to the public. There are things they are doing in-house, their processes and operations and whatever. They are not bringing. It is the one that requires public attention that you see. Work is going behind the scene to improve our electoral processes. They are working. Like I said, Nigeria is a work in progress. Our electoral process is a work in progress. As we progress and develop, we will see improvements day in, day out. What we see now, what we are going to experience in 2027, there must be an improvement on it in 2031. That is how it goes. It is not something you say, I have done it and I've done everything, no more, nothing to be worked on again. It is never done like that anywhere in the world.
It's dynamic.
It is a work in progress.
And there are also issues of people, even in this elections that is coming, the FCT, local council,
the council election,
council elections. People have complained that I have gone to register, I have transferred my voter's card, I cannot still find it till date. Even as at today, there are still such complaints. We know that we'll still see some of it in 2027. This is what the federal government needs to address in collaboration with the
And there are voter cards that people have registered for how many years, ready for collection. The people are not collecting them.
Well, that is true.
Is it the fault of INEC?
That is true.
That is costing INEC money to store those things.
We agree with you. I agree with you. But it doesn't mean that because we have voters' cards that have not been collected, people should not get voters' cards.
No.
Shouldn't.
No, it doesn't.
Exactly. So we should talk about these things because we know that in 2027 we'll still have issues. Why not start registration on years before?
Why do we
That's
wait for
that's
the
INEC has been doing it.
So these are one of the reforms we need to have.
That's the idea behind the CVR.
There's continuous voter registration.
Yes.
Some of the people that you see complain maybe might have not provided adequate, they needed information. Or because there are, if you want to transfer your voter card from one polling unit to the other, there are things you provide, the information you provide. Maybe the information is not accurate. And some people too are not transferring their voter card. They just went to do new registration. And then it goes into their system because your details are already, they see your details, it will reject it. And they are the ones that you see come out to run, I have transferred my card from here to there, and they cannot give me. Most of them are lies. They go to do fresh registrations, and because of the kind of system INEC has in place, it must dictate you.
Right.
No matter
you can have multiple registrations.
Those are the people you see complaining. I'm telling you.
We had the APC youth leader come here to make such a complaint. This is talking about someone is in the APC rather. APC.
Those cases are very few. They are very few.
And he didn't just speak for himself alone.
I say they are very few. They are not. See, like initially, let me give you an instance. I live in Lagos. I was voting in Lagos. I said, no. I am going into politics full time. I must transfer. Well, politics is local. I must transfer my voter card. And I did it. When I traveled to check there, I said it was not ready, so and so. And I keep. Because of it, I was traveling regularly to make sure. And it was done years ago. You understand? It is humans that run the system. You cannot rule out mistake somewhere. And then it is technology as well. You cannot rule out 40 whatever. There must be human factor. But the complaints are not as it used to be. Before it used to be many. I am telling you now that yes, there might be cases of people that transfer their voter cards, whatever, that are having issues, have not collected. But majority of those that have done have collected. Some are those that engage in multiple registration. The system will reject them.
Well, I want to think that INEC do not have enough hands when it comes to technology. Yes, I really feel like a lot of the INEC itself do not have technologically driven human resource. I feel like they're still operating with
the analog thinking.
Maybe you go to help them. You go to help them.
All right, Chief, as we begin to wrap up now, let's talk about the Electoral Act, something that came on stream in 2022. And many persons, including politicians like yourself, said it was going to be a game changer for electoral process, but that hasn't been much of the case. Now, that same piece of legislation is being reviewed. What are your concerns at this point? What do you think should be knocked out or added to it?
The issues that, we saw, to me, the case of statutory delegates, for party conventions, should be looked into. They should be amended to, bring in what was in the 2019 Act. You understand? Statutory delegates, and also there should be additions to the statutory delegate list for each of the parties. That is the area I have concern, because that time the 2020 Electoral Act disenfranchised a lot of statutory delegates. So I would want the National Assembly to work on it to reinstate, what it was ab initio, so that the statutory delegates are no longer disenfranchised.
Do you think the Act, as it stands right now, provides enough, if you like, penalty or punishment for those who are caught in electoral malpractice of any kind?
Well, for now, let's make do with what we have. Once you are caught and prosecuted and convicted and sentenced, you are an ex-convict. That toge alone, a ex-convict, means a lot. Unless you have presidential pardon, you cannot run for an election. You cannot have a government appointment. Even in employment, it's a big question mark. So that toga ex-convict alone is enough punishment to me.
We have a lot of ex-convicts still running political.
No. You don't have ex-convicts that have not gotten presidential pardon that are running for political positions or have political appointments.
Or whose convictions somehow have not been overturned.
That's overturned by the superior courts.
All right, let's now talk about the role of political parties. Well, we have a guest who says there are no political parties, they are political platforms. Let's talk about their role in terms of helping to strengthen democracy, because every time there's an anomaly, every time something goes south regarding our politics, our democracy, it's either we blame INEC or for the most part we blame political parties. Is it possible that politicians are just dodging their own role?
Like I have said, our democracy is still evolving, and it rubs off on political parties. But politicians have a lot of blame on that, because most of the parties, there is lack of internal democracy in most of the political parties.
Right.
And that is what has given room for a lot of litigations, in each election cycle. When there is no internal democracy in the party, how the leadership of the parties emerge, how candidates emerge during primaries, it breeds bad blood, and you see litigation upon litigation. Until political parties, imbibe and begin to practice internal democracy, it will reduce the political heating up the polity, and then saddling the judiciary with a lot of cases that hitherto are supposed not to get to the courts.
Right.
So later, our political parties begin to practice internal democracy within themselves first. It will help in our, democratic process.
Well, that's a fine place to leave it. I would like to say a big thank you to you, Chief Chibuna Ubawike, for coming to talk to us about these developing stories. And as always, Global Television will continue to track them for you and just give you bit by bit updates as they continue to unfold, especially given that the 2027 general election is just up front, and the Electoral Act in itself, which is basically part of the mechanism, as it were, driving the process, is also being looked at by legislators. But again, Nigeria is the only country we've got, and we must do everything possible to protect it. A quick reminder that the views of our guests are their opinions, and we'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who has spent time to watch Global Morning. Today, I am Uyag Mofewe, again appreciating you.
And I am Priscilla Obasi, saying have a lovely day and make sure you get yourself ready for 2027.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.